In 2019, I did everything that the property industry told me to do. I bought off the plan property, brand new property for depreciation. I bought in a capital city because it's a high growth corridor supposedly. But then after a couple of years, these properties that I purchased, I realized that they were the wrong investment and actually put me in a deficit. Today, I want to do a podcast on off the plan properties and the risks that are involved when you're buying these types of assets. It's where I am today because I got burnt by these people in the same field as myself called buyer's agents that were selling off the plan properties. And from there, I said to myself, I'll make sure that I can help other people do the right thing and not go down the same road like I did. Now, there is so many different types of strategies, and I don't want to knock this strategy because it has worked for other people in the past and even for some of our clients that have come to us from other companies. But I want to lay out the risks that are involved, things to look out for. And if you're someone that is new to investing, hopefully this podcast opens your eyes and gives you more knowledge. So when you do sit down with a buyer's agent or an investor or an advisory company, you can ask the right questions so you know you're making the right decision by the response that you get from them. So let's get into it. So I'm not an anti off the plan guy. I'm not an anti-unit guy. I'm not an anti-house guy or anti-commercial guy. I'm a guy that likes all different types of strategy. Hence why at Fresh Start, we do different types of strategy to accommodate different types of people's needs and wants. But when it comes to, off the plan properties, there is a high level of risk that is involved. And that's just because, one, you're buying a property sight unseen and you're hoping that that valuation is going to stack up. Meaning that when you say, I'm going to buy this piece of land, I'm going to build a house on there, next thing you know is you're gone to the broker. They say, yep, no worries, wait for it to get built. Once it gets built, then you have to get the finance ready. During that time, you've only put down a deposit, so you're waiting for that property to get completed. When it comes close to that going unconditional and waiting for settlement, they have to get a valuer out there, and the valuer will go out there, inspect the property, and the price that you paid for that property at that time has to make sense on paper. And let's just say the property costs you $500,000 on paper. They'll go there and inspect it, and they'll see if it's really valued at $500,000 going off the valuer's estimate and their requirements. Pretty straightforward. Now, how this was pitched to myself, during this time, I was going to all the seminars. I was going to all the workshops, wanting to learn more about property. And I went to this one particular, and they were talking about off the plan property. This guy took me under his wing, had a couple of meetings with me. He told me everything that I kind of wanted to hear at that time. Being a young kid as well, 26, 27 years old at that point in time, I'm just vulnerable. I want to get into the market. I want to invest. I want to make wealth. I want to try and get myself out of this shit like anyone does when they invest in anything. You're doing it for a financial outcome. So I'll go with this guy. I sign up. There is a $2,000 or $3,000 fee for a 5-year membership. Okay, that was their low fees involved, not having to pay a proper buyer's agent fee that charges anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 plus per deal. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. Sign up with this company, and I buy one property which was on the plan, or off the plan I should say, but just already established. It's already completed. I bought it off the developer. I paid $495 for a 2-bedroom townhouse / apartment in Oakley East, Victoria. Okay, which is in Melbourne. That property at the time was renting out for $350 per week. Okay, so it had a shocking rental yield. And then at the same time, I said, I'm going to buy another one off the plan right away because they've pitched it to me. The pitch was, Frank, there's this property here. We're building these properties in Cranbourne. If anyone knows where Cranbourne in Victoria is, it's about an hour and a half southeast of Melbourne. I'm like, all right, it's in this new estate. There's thousands and thousands of properties getting built everywhere. And the selling point was that there's a new Bunnings that's being built and a McDonald's down the road. And when these big companies are building their these new complexes or retail outlets, that they're doing it for a reason. And they're seeing that there's going to be growth in this corridor. That was their selling pitch. I didn't get any regional reports or research on infrastructure projects or jobs or anything about the economy. No property analytics. Just a cash flow analysis of what the property is going to cost me and what they predict it's going to be in the next 10 years. Unfortunately, none of that was true. So going through this journey, I'm waiting for this property to get built. I'm starting to realize that the decision that I made, because I had to wait 9 months for this property, 9 to 10 months for this property to get built, that wasn't probably the right decision. I couldn't back out. I had to put down a 10% deposit. That second property I bought in Cranbourne, I paid $489 on contract price. So I was waiting for that to get built. It was a three-bedroom townhouse that had a 2-bathroom and a 2-car garage / carport, if you want to call it that. And so, yeah, I looked at this property, and once it came close to the date of, settling, or before settling, just around that unconditional date, I got a valuer to go in. And at the time, I remember this is a guy called Peter. He was my broker. He calls me up. He goes, "Frank, I've got some bad news." I go, "What's the news? Tell me, what's going on?" He goes, "Frank, your valuation came in $60,000 below the market valuation." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He got valued at $431. And I'm like, "Yeah. So what's your point?" He goes, "The property, you have to come up with the difference of the $60,000 on top of your deposit." I'm like, "So explain a little bit more. What do you mean?" He goes, "You've already put down your 10% deposit for the property." So it was $48,900. He goes, "You're going to have to put down another $60,000 on top of that, plus stamp duty, plus legal fees and pest and building fees, etc." And I'm sitting there scratching my head and going, "Oh, I don't have that. I don't have that funds for that property." Anyway, lucky, my beautiful mum helped me when I bought this property. Okay. Why am I sharing this whole story? I'm showing you, I want to explain the outcome and for people to understand what, you go through when you buy off the plan. So try to get another valuation. Valuation came out the same price, 60,000 below market val, okay? Or contract price, I should say, because I didn't buy it on the market, I bought it at a contract price. So I'm like, all right, shit, I'm gonna have to come up with the next 60 grand. Lucky my mum, she had the extra 60 grand. I put that deposit down. I couldn't back out of the contract. I would have lost my, nearly $50,000 deposit that I've put down on this property. And away we go. Now, during that time, I didn't get a phone call from the buyer's agent. I didn't get a phone call from they had this strategist at the time as well. Nothing. Left in the dark, okay? Lucky, the broker, he was trying to help me out. He was trying to do what he could for me. I realized I kept using him and he was really good and authentic. I remember he left that company and stopped working with him because of what was going on. It wasn't his fault, but it was my fault. Not the company I worked for, it was my fault. And I would say that because I have to take accountability for my actions. Not going in there, not understanding what I was doing, no research based. I didn't have the knowledge or the wisdom. And, everyone goes through similar things like I've gone through. I had clients who've done the same thing. Now, the buyer's agent didn't charge me. There was nothing involved for, a fee. It was just a membership fee. They were getting a cut from the developer, anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 per a property. So of course there is a conflict of interest. Now, that first property I purchased that was kind of off the plan but established that the developer just owned, the one I bought in Oakley for $495,000, when I purchased that property about 5 months later, I remember seeing a property online sell for like $450,000, $440,000. And I was like, well, what's going on here? The exact same property in the same block of units. I started to realize that I overpaid for this property as well today. Now I still have that property, the one in Oakley. That property today is worth $420,000, okay? It won't cover the mortgage because I put down a 10% deposit when I bought that property, and it won't cover, all the outgoing. So I was like to myself, I'm just gonna hold on to that property today because me financially, I'm in a good position where it doesn't really affect me. But the lesson for some people is if you have a property like that, that's not growing in value, it's gone backwards in value, and you bought that in 2019 and today it's still valued at $420,000, but you've paid $495,000. Normally you want to sell that because it's an opportunity cost that's costing you not being able to get into the market. I'm very fortunate. My borrowing capacity doesn't really have limits, so I can keep going. But for some people, that can stop people from investing because they've bought one bad asset. Now, the one in Cranbourne that I was talking about that's off the plan, that had this $60,000 below market value, what I did there is after 2022 or 23, 22, I ended up selling that property and I had it on the market for about 4 months to try and sell this townhouse. I ended up selling for $517,000. Now on contract price, I still paid $489,000, even though the value I valued it at, in the 430s. So I sold that property. I didn't have any capital gains tax I really had to pay because I didn't include the stamp duty and all the fees involved. Literally just walked away with that property, breaking even, okay? Got my money that I was, that was remainder of, once I paid out the loan, and then I started again. But the thing was that I bought in an area that was an oversupply of property, okay? The market just went up a little bit when I sold that townhouse in Cranbourne, and it's really interesting of what that market's done. Now, what do I want to talk about when it comes to off the plan? I was doing a video on this morning actually, and I was looking at a property in a new estate, another place called Clyde North, which is next to Cranbourne in Victoria/Melbourne. Now, you know when you're buying off the plan when it does not make sense. And here is one way to find out if you're looking at a property on the plan, if it stacks up. Number one, if you're looking at the land value, what they're selling a piece of land there for, see what it's going to cost you. So I was looking at this piece of land in Clyde North, and it was on the market for sale from $740 to $770 for this piece of land, 500 square meters of land. Okay. Now, then I did an exercise and I looked at a house on the same piece of land in Clyde North and what they would sell for. They were asking $780 to $840 for the house. Okay. Now I started to realize there was about $140,000, $150,000 difference in the house and land. We all know to build a house, you cannot build a house for $140,000. We just know that, okay? You can't build a 3 or 4 bedroom house for that much. It's impossible, literally. You're looking anywhere from $450,000 to $500,000 minimum. And you can just call up Metricon Homes or Simmons Homes and look at what they're selling their houses for. So what I'm trying to understand here is like, why is that land so expensive? Now, developers, of course, are jacking up prices in these new estates. It's pretty self-explanatory. A piece of land worth nearly $600,000, $700,000, then you can buy a house and land package, but with a house already established on there in the same area for $800,000 to maybe $30,000, $40,000. Okay, doesn't make sense. So the way to look at this, if you are looking in these new estates, is that's a great exercise to do just there. Another exercise you can do, if it's possible and if you can get this information, is the rates. A rate notice, and if you're an owner of a property or owner of investment property, look at your rates notice. It has estimate land value. Now, sometimes it's never the true value of potentially what you could sell it for, but it's a good indication. And I guarantee in some of these new estates that you buy that land for $600,000, $700,000, maybe more, that land value ain't going to come in at that price of the valuation in the rates notice. Okay, and so it's going to be way lower than that, and you can maybe potentially ask that off the people selling a property. If you're looking at a property, let's say, just do some DD. Let's say you're going to buy in Clyde North off the plan. Instead of asking the developer, they're not going to give you a rates notice because they probably haven't got one. You would go to someone selling a property, a real estate agent in that area that's for sale. Say you're interested. Say, hey, do you have the rates notice? Get a copy of the rates notice, see what the land value is. Then you can kind of know, are you overpaying for the land or the house? Which one is it? And it's either going to be one or the other. And 9 times out of 10, you're probably overpaying for the land, even the house as well, because you're just paying for a property that's just a new build property in an area that probably has an oversupply. When an area has a massive vacant of land around it, but farmland, but it's always been approved for residential developments, and there's heaps of properties coming on the market, it can affect property prices. It's very important to understand this because you can be done like me and get the property that you thought was going to be a great property, and it can be the wrong investment. So I'm very passionate about this because this can sometimes detriment people's journey. And actually, unfortunately, they buy one property like this and probably they're done and they'll never invest again. There are some good buyers agents out there that do sell off the plan properties, okay? But you do need to do your research. Now, the way to go about this is have a bit of a process or questions to ask them and see what their process is like of how they present the property and what information they give you. Looking at council reports or regional reports or looking at, infrastructure reports of what's going on. Now, I'm not talking about like roads, how many properties they're building in that area. I'm talking about, is there a hospital upgrade? Is there new infrastructure for different types of industries and sectors? Is there new schools or school upgrades? Or is there an upgrade to the airport? Or is there anything that's going to create more jobs and ongoing jobs as well that's going to attract people to migrate there? A good example is a place like Townsville or Bunbury or even Brisbane, for example. Migration migrated there because of opportunity, not because of houses were getting built and there was an oversupply of houses and people just wanted to move there. It was for a reason. So get that information and make sure when you are going to go work with someone like that, that they give you that level of information. Because once again, I've heard that this strategy has worked for other people, and I've actually had some clients that have come to me and they've bought off the plan and their properties have done extremely well. Don't know if it's luck or don't know if they worked with a great buyer's agent because I didn't know who they were. But if you are going to do something like this, just look at what they do and understand that. So when it comes to off the plan, of course, there's a lot to understand. Me, I'm a bit biased and always go established areas. Regardless of where it is, if it's a capital city or regional town, established always makes sense. You can't just knock down a piece of farm and then build more properties. To me, it's just a logical thing. But in saying that, I have bought in areas where one of my properties is kind of in an old estate that once upon a time was a new estate, but has changed over many years. So it just depends on how you're doing your research, what's going on, understanding the economy, and doing a high DD on that area. Like I said, any strategy can work, but it's just what aligns with what you're trying to achieve. Make sure as well that the people understand what your goals are, what are the things that you need to implement or do to get you to your goal. If there is no thought out plan, no strategy, then I would really consider working with someone that actually hasn't got the best interest in your goals of what you're trying to achieve. Now, hopefully this podcast relates with you. If you're someone that's new into investing or you're looking to find someone to work with, make sure you do the right DD, ask the right questions, and understand that what the information they're going to feed back to you is correct. And if you're not sure, speak to a friend or a family member or someone that you know that's got investment properties, potentially they can help you. Because this podcast might stop you from making the same mistake like I did when I bought off the plan properties that went backwards in value, that stopped me for many years from buying another investment property, and I could have bought another 3, 4, 5 properties potentially if I didn't buy these 2 dud investments. So if this video helps you, if it helps you from making a better decision or maybe stops you from signing a contract right now, maybe I've done my job. And that's not to say sign up with us. It's to make sure that you can maybe ask better questions, act a bit more patient, act slower, act smarter in a way of not just jumping to pen and paper and seeing if this is the right decision for you, depending on whatever you're going to do. So if you got value from this video, guys, please just like or subscribe, and we'll see you at the next video, and to your success.